Today, we're heading to Kyoto, but we're not going to the places you see on every postcard. No, we're going down a very specific, narrow, lantern-lit alley called Pontocho. It's a place that honestly feels like you've stepped into another century, where one of Japan's most elegant traditions is fighting to survive in our modern world.
You know, that quote just captures the feeling perfectly. It really is a world of quiet grace. You can almost hear the rustling silk and the soft click of wooden sandals on the stone path. But behind all that magic, there's a really complex and fascinating system. And that's what we're going to unpack today. So, picture this. It's a single alley running right alongside the Kamogawa River. It's so narrow that the buildings are often described as having an eel bed design. And at night, oh man, the iconic red lanterns cast this incredible warm glow. It creates an atmosphere that's somehow both intimate and deeply, deeply traditional.
Now, what makes this world so incredible is its scale. This entire living art form, in this specific district, is carried on the shoulders of just 38 geisha and their apprentices, the Maiko. That's it. If you're thinking of the more famous Gion district, Pontocho is a tiny, really close-knit community trying to preserve a massive legacy.
So how did this place even come to be? Well, believe it or not, about 400 years ago, it was nothing but a sandbar in the river. In 1670, they reclaimed the land, and by the early 1700s, it was already a licensed entertainment hub. Then, in 1872, the Kamogawa Odori dance was created, and that just cemented its reputation for artistry, a tradition that's still going strong today.
Okay, but to really get Pontocho, you have to look past the beautiful surface. We need to look into the hidden structures that make it all work. Because this isn't just about art, it's about a very specific social and economic engine that keeps the whole thing running.
The heart of everything, and I mean everything, is the Okiya, the geisha house. The best way to think of it is like a combination of a home, a talent agency, and a family business all rolled into one. It's run by a woman everyone calls Okasan, or mother, and she is mentor, manager, and investor all at once. A geisha's entire life is tied to her Okiya. And where do they work? In places called Ochaya, or teahouses. But here's the most important part. You can't just walk in. Access is strictly by introduction from a trusted patron. This rule is what has protected the privacy and traditions of Pontocho for centuries. It's a closed, trusted world. So you're probably wondering, how does a young woman even afford to get into this world? Well, the short answer is, she doesn't. The Okiya does. The Okasan invests a small fortune in her training, her clothes, her debut, everything. The apprentice, the Maiko, then works for years to pay back this debt. It's this system of patronage and loyalty that allows such an incredibly expensive art form to be passed down.
All right, so we've seen the system that makes it all possible. Now let's talk about the incredible journey these young women actually go on. It is a path of just immense discipline and dedication.
This journey usually starts when a girl is just 15. After an interview, she becomes what's called a shikomi, basically doing chores and just observing for about a year. At 16, she can finally debut as a maiko, an apprentice. Then for the next 5 years, it's relentless training, dance, music, the art of conversation, before she can finally earn the title of Geiko, which is what they call a full-fledged geisha in Kyoto.
And you can actually tell them apart just by looking at them. This slide breaks it down perfectly. The Maiko is the apprentice. She's the one in the super colorful, long-sleeved kimono with all the elaborate hairpins in her own hair. The Geiko is the master artist. Her kimono is more subdued, her sleeves are shorter, and she wears a simple, elegant wig. It's a sign of her seniority.
Now, I want you to just let that number sink in for a second. 33,000 US dollars. That is the rough cost of one single formal silk kimono that a Maiko wears. And she needs several of them for different seasons and events. It's just astounding. And this quote right here, it connects all the dots for us. The sheer mind-boggling cost of the clothes makes the Okiya's financial backing absolutely essential. I mean, there's just no way a 16-year-old could afford this on her own. So the system isn't just about tradition. It's a practical, economic necessity.
So, this brings us to a really crucial topic, our role as observers. The huge rise in global tourism has created some serious challenges for the women of Pontocho, which makes it vital that we all understand how to interact with this world respectfully.
And sadly, this is the reality.
There have been just awful reports of tourists acting terribly, chasing Maiko down the street, tugging on their priceless kimonos, even trying to pull out their hair ornaments. This isn't just rude, it's harassment, and it genuinely threatens the fabric of the entire district.
So let's just pause and think about this for a second. If you were lucky enough to see a Maiko walking through Pontocho, what would you do? How would you react in that moment? Your answer really matters.
The good news is the rules are actually very simple. Don't treat them like a tourist attraction. They are professionals on their way to a job. So don't block their path, don't touch them, and absolutely do not chase them for a photo. A simple, respectful bow from a distance is the perfect way to show your admiration. Let them go on their way.
And if you need an analogy to help it click, this one from a local guide is perfect. You wouldn't stop a doctor on their way into an emergency room, would you? It's the same thing. The kimono and the makeup. That's their work uniform. They are on the clock, and their clients are paying for their time from the moment they step out the door.
And hey, let me give you a few quick tips to save you some confusion. First, those maiko you see taking selfies by temples during the day, they're almost always tourists in costume. Also, don't even try to just walk into a tea house. You'll be very politely turned away. The best time to maybe see a real maiko is at dusk, right around 6 p.m., as they head to their first appointments.
Okay, so let's pull back and look at the bigger picture here. Why is it so important to understand and respect all of this? Because Pontocho is so much more than just a pretty alley for photos.
This table really puts it all into perspective. You can see just how small and intimate Pontocho is, especially compared to the tourist-heavy Gion-Kobu, which has gotten so bad they've had to institute fines for taking photos. Pontocho's smaller scale helps it maintain a much more authentic, preserved atmosphere.
And this is the most crucial point to take away from all of this. This is not a theme park. It is not a performance put on for tourists. It's a real neighborhood where real people dedicate their entire lives to mastering and preserving a difficult and incredibly beautiful art form. The privilege of being able to witness it comes with the responsibility to protect it.
It's a powerful thought to end on, isn't it? This fragile, beautiful world has survived for centuries. It's been through wars and enormous social change. But the pressures of modern tourism might just be its greatest challenge yet. And whether it continues to thrive depends less on the women in the kimono and more on the choices we all make as visitors, observers, and admirers from afar.